Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from ABC Camp. I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics and talk a little bit about, how to maximize your body, how to get your legs involved to create velocity, create torque, to drive down that hill. We're going to look at, are you getting in a spot that's consistent to be able to repeat? So we want to be able to repeat our delivery. So, are we breaking our hands at the same point? Are we, breaking our hands as our legs are going down, as our hips are starting down? Are our hips leading us down the hill? And then we're going to look at a spot we call foot strike. So once that left leg comes up off the ground, once that left leg hits the ground, we're going to freeze it and look at where your body is. What are your hips doing? Where are the angles of your arm? Does it look like you're in a nice healthy position? Does it look like you're in a nice powerful position? And then we'll look at how you finish, how you're releasing the ball, and we'll go from there. All right. So first off, we're going to look at how you're starting. All right. The biggest thing with how we're starting is we want to limit movements, especially from the windup. We've got to make sure that once that left leg starts coming off the ground, our eyes are on the target. All right. And we just want to make sure that we're as efficient as we can. All right. So from this wind-up position, you're doing pretty good at keeping your movements to a minimum. You're moving your hands quite a bit, but that's fine because in the end, you bring your hands back down to your belly button above that belt, so that's good. All right, your leg comes up, eyes are on the catcher. All right, that's all good. So the biggest thing that you need to do is you can see that at the peak of your leg lift, all right, so we'll go to right here. So as you can see, as your leg's going up, that body's going forward and your hands are going up too. All right, keep your hands locked right down where they were in that position before. All right, we don't want those hands to follow that knee up. Keep the glove right next to that belt, right next to that belly button, and let that leg come up, almost so it's going to touch it. All right. Another thing you're doing is you can see that, if we're to kind of draw a box around your body, you can see that your weight right now is kind of in the middle of your foot. We want to try to get that shifted over this back foot right here, so everything's ready to get balanced and get loaded. And you can see that, as this leg comes up, you can see how your body's kind of starting forward a little bit. So you're just starting a little bit too soon with your body, and all that's going to cause is inconsistencies in your where you break your hands. So at this point, right at that peak of that leg lift, we still want to be a little bit back over that back leg. I'm not saying we got to stay balanced and stop and pause back there. We want to make sure we're still over that back foot a little bit. That's just going to give us more repeatability of our delivery. All right? And then when your hands are dropped back down here, you're not going to be breaking your hands from up here, and that's going to make that arm path more consistent. It's going to cause it to follow a little bit better path, because you can watch that ball drops down anyways. So to cut down that distance, just drop your hands back in the circle. So just keep it right down there, and that'll make it a lot more consistent. All right. Another thing too with your hips is, we want to get our hips in a nice closed position to get our hips to lead us down the mound. All right, you're halfway there. You have your knees back over that back foot. Now just let that foot kind of dangle down, form a 90-degree angle instead of kind of flexing it back. Here, just let that foot get back over that back foot as well. That's going to buy you a little bit more time to keep your hips closed. All right, but you do a pretty good job at leading with your hip. You're keeping this foot closed off, so you're doing a pretty good job at letting that hip do all the work down the hill. All right, now it's just a matter of timing everything up and staying over that back leg. Right off the bat, you're kind of getting out in front, and then you're going to watch through your delivery at foot strike. So right when that front foot hits the ground, which looks like about right here, you can see how everything's kind of shifted and your weight's kind of over that front hip. In this position, we want everything, your head to still be back over that back hip a little bit. So you're just getting out a little bit ahead of yourself. All right, and just losing a little bit of power there. All right, so looking back here, so we'll go look at foot strike real quick. So look for here is the ability for your hips to start before your upper body. So we want to see the hips turn before that upper body's going. You're seeing that they both go at the same time. Now this, for your age, this is tough to do because it's a big strength deal. But the more you can kind of work on it, the better off you're going to be. We want the hips to be in this position, and your front shoulder and your back shoulder haven't even rotated yet. You know, they're back in that position back there, you know, back over that back hip. So the more we can kind of work on that torque, it's what's called the hip-shoulder separation, the more power you're going to be, all right? You're in pretty good alignment, all right? It doesn't look like you're popping open too early with your hip. Now it's just a matter of kind of syncing up your hips to get ahead of that upper body, all right? Right now they're just rotating at the same time, all right? Let this glove get out and follow that front foot a little bit farther. That's going to help you get your body out a little bit. So you can kind of see how it just kind of goes up. It doesn't really get anywhere past that shoulder. All right, we want to try to get it out here, and you can see it curl down. At this point, we want to try to see this glove, that elbow out here a little bit. We just don't want that to rotate early. Rotating early, that's going to cause that right shoulder to start rotating early. So the more we can kind of keep this left shoulder in line, the longer that's going to stay closed. All right. Foot strike again. All right, you can already see that elbow starting to rotate. All right, it's in a decent angle. It's just rotating early, so you're losing a little bit of power. You're not really loading that scat back there. But all in all, that angle's looking good throughout your delivery. And a lot of times guys will get their elbow above the shoulder or be below, you know, or you know, be in this position back here. So you're keeping a pretty good angle with your arm. Now it's just a matter of syncing it up to be behind your hips. So once you get to this release, or to this foot strike, through your release, you know, the more you're staying in your hips, the more you're getting that torque, you're going to start seeing yourself drive farther through that back leg. You're still going to see yourself with that back foot still on the ground at this point right here. All right, we want to, you know, if you're thinking about if you're punching somebody, you know, can you get more power driving through your back leg, or can you get more power, you know, bouncing on one foot? You just don't have a whole lot of power just on one foot. So the more we can drive through that back leg, you know, not only is it going to give you more power, you're going to drive farther out over that front foot, and now your head and your chest are going to be out over that front foot. And now you're going to be releasing the ball from, you know, out here. So now you're going to pick up a few more inches of release and a little bit more angle. So the more you can stay through that back leg, the better off you're going to be. So, you know, all in all, it's everything. All the parts are basically there. Now it's just a matter of you know, as you get older, as you develop, to generate that torque in that hips, to get more power through those hips, and letting those hips, that right hip drive through the plate first, and then that shoulder come through, and then, you know, driving out over that front foot. You know, we want to try to kind of stiffen up this leg a little bit too soon. You know, we want to see a little bit more energy transfer out over that front foot. We don't ever want to see that knee get above the toes. We just want to try to see it get out here a little bit more, and then it straightens up after release. It's kind of straightening up towards release. You can kind of see it straightening. So it's just that lower half emphasis. You know, just work on, you know, breaking your hands a little bit, keeping your hands a little bit farther down as you break them, and then just work on keeping those hips closed down the mound, driving that hip open while keeping that front side closed, letting that glove get out over that front foot. And as you get older, get stronger, it's going to start, you know, creating a little bit more velocity and power for you. So hopefully you had a great time at camp. Thanks for coming out. Hopefully you're having a great season too. Thanks.